Hi and welcome to another pedal preservation video. So if you've been with the channel for a while, you remember we competed in the Cheep bike build-off where we restored a incredibly bright electric green Saracen mountain bike. Now you remember in that video we had a problem with the forks. The forks were in fact bent, which we didn't realize at the time, and that caused nothing but problem in the build because of the restraining budget. We had to end up fitting a set of budget forks on that never were really in fitting with the bikes, period. And I mean, aesthetically they were fine because we painted them purple, looked great, but really they didn't belong there because they were off like a cheap supermarket mountain bike. However, we're going to revisit it today. Now, I know this is not the bike sitting in the stand at the moment, but the point of this bike is this bike has a nice set of, well, approximately period correct proper front forks and a disc brake conversion kit on it. So the plan, you'll get a better shot of it. There we go. Sorry, my stand is seizing up big styly now. So we have a set of Zotes. Honestly, I can't remember if I've ever come across this brand before, but that's what it is. They're Zotes. They've got a set of Grimika. I've never heard of those. Grimika disc brakes, which don't work. Now I've measured up the fork. At least the fork steerer tube is the right size, and this is the reason I've not been able to do this job so far, because I've never had a steerer tube the right size. So in this video we're going to get these forks onto the Saracen, but we're going to obviously have to address a few issues with the brakes, etc. first. But without further ado, let's get moving. Right, we're going to deal with the brakes first, because obviously we want to drop the forks off. We need to have that a wee bit independent, so we're going to need the usual get the grips off in the usual way. No, there's no holes there, so I can't blast it off with the air tool. Bit of IPA up the grip. Oh, we're coming in at a bit of an angle, so I don't know if we're going to actually get... Oh no, we're all right. Actually, probably didn't need it. Right, so that is off. No, I think I'm going to... In fact, that's a security bit, or Torx, I should say. These just don't... Oh no, that's got in all right, that one. That's a Wera set, so that's definitely going to fit, no bother. Right, that way I can leave the handles behind, but the forks can drop off. Right, let's drop the bars. Now I've already taken the top cap off, just to save a bit of time. We'll just do the usual, hang that into the frame. And we can drop this down, although, you see what I've done, I forgot to take the bloody wheel off. Right, that is the forks off, but we're going to have a look at these, because it's either there's no hydraulics. I'm going to just take the brake system off. It's going to make it easier to work on, but I have had a quick look at what we're up against, but I have a feeling we might be having our first casualty, which is the brakes, because they look proper rusted, and I would probably say we would need some parts, which I definitely won't have, and I don't know if I could make something work. So put them aside. Jesus, this thing's weigh a ton. So yeah, the problem is, don't know if it's probably get out of focus here. Focus. Is that there should be like a plunger or a rod or something, I think. I'm not sure, unless that's just an adjustment screw and it pushes against that cylinder, but then that would leave the brakes being quite far up, which I'm not sure is correct. But this is all seized up, I think, and just to make things worse, it uses .34 brake fluid, so it's not normal brake fluid like mineral fluid, so it's going to be a right pain in the ass. But what I'm going to do is, rather than film it all, because it might go nowhere anyway, I'm going to have a wee investigation and then deem where we are and come back to you. Right, we're going in. I've already loosened these off because they actually took a little bit of work to get off. Right, rather than showing you me struggling with screwdrivers, I'm assuming. Oh no! I actually thought it was going to be dry in there, but it ain't dry. Right, okay, that's interesting. I was expecting it to be all dried out because that piston was seized. So what I'm going to do is just going to soak up the brake fluid. That is literally just the reservoir then. Thought that'd give us access to the piston. Right, okay, let's stick that back on there now. In fact, you know what, I'll leave that off, there's no reason. I mean, I just don't want to get this bloody brake fluid everywhere. Alright, I had these the wrong way around. I was wondering why I couldn't find the right size. Oh, Jesus, is that now? Oh no, I'm slackening off. Right, so that's that out. Put the nut back on there. Right, problem is, or what we're up against, as I say, is this plunger here. God, I wish I could see it, but I haven't got my reading glasses on. What's that there? There's something there, don't know what, but looks jammed in, whatever it is. But this is just tight. It just looks all corroded. The hell? God. Well, whatever that was, it just came bloody flying out. Wait a minute. Oh, they're working. Maybe I shouldn't have bled all the oil out. Right. That looks like that was just debris in there. And whatever that was jammed in, it just came flying out. You still seeing this okay? I don't know how it really goes in there. I'm going to get in there, that will do. Just use the air line. So I'm just going to cover up because I don't want everything going everywhere. Right, okay. Poop. Maybe we should have done that first because I've now emptied that. So what I'm going to do, I should have some dot oil. I'll go and get it. And of course, I don't have a syringe because I don't want to contaminate the other one. So I'm going to have to go beast mode and just dribble it in. Like that. This is very hobo, but it's going to let me know whether it's going to work or not. This will probably go everywhere when I push it down, of course. Doodle-loop. I mean, it says on the top here, .3 or 3 to 4. So we've got .4. I assume that dot fluids are all the same, not 100%. I'll be straight up with you. All my systems have been mineral. But unfortunately I did buy a bike and it had tram on it, which is not really ideal. Right, okay, let's put the fluid aside. Now, this is not an ideal setup. Right, let's see if we can actually get the pistons to push out. And hopefully not push out to the extent they just go flying out. I mean, that's working now. Well, the pistons are moving, so I think we might be alright. The only thing is, looking in there to the pistons is, I think they might take special brake pads. See, this is the problem. There's no pads, and the pistons have got like, I don't know if you can see this, but the pistons have got like a pin that sticks out, which sticks out beyond there. So it's like the pads have got a recessed hole in them. Right, I think this is going to be a problem I'm going to have to come back to. I don't want to make, this was supposed to just be a wee project for today. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this back together and then put it aside. I think will be best, and then I can start maybe putting feelers out for bits, and we can always swap this over. But I can just put a general, it won't be period correct, but I'll just put yeah, because I mean, we even get pistons for those, not pistons, sorry, you know what I mean, pads. Right, Cheap Bike Build Off 2025. I hope you remember it in all its glory. So, this is the offending article, a cheap set of Apollo forks on an awesome bike, but we were basically just wedged. There was nothing we could do, and we were running out of time. So, let's see if we can, in fact, they're about the same reach and everything, so this could work out all quite well. But we'll get these off the now and see where we stand. Big one. Right, what I need to do is disconnect the brakes. Of course, that will not fit. 10 mil or something. Yep, there we go. In fact, that goes through the hole, so I'm going to have to. It's a pain, but needs must. So we'll take that off. Obviously, this will not be getting used as is, so we'll be taking that brake off as well. Right, nothing else is connected, so we can drop that off. Of course, I'm forgetting, I think this is actually yeah, this is a stem adapter that's in here, so that can actually come off. Let's hook that back round there. That's handy. But yeah, this is, yep. Yeah, this was, had to see, boom, conversion. Really great little things though. Just thinking now, of course, this is threaded and that is not, oh, that's slack. Clearly, I put this back on with full intention. This was all going to be coming back off again at some point. Here's my AliExpress. I've gone from like rarely ever using that to seem to like I'm using it all the time lately. Right, looks like all the bearings are still in there. That weighs an absolute ton. I gotta be honest, it probably weighs about the same as this. Just gonna give this a wee clean. Now, I'm wondering. Put the other bike away. What it is I'm wondering is if that's designed to take a closed bearing with the 45-degree angle on it. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop it in here and see how it sits. Actually, it sits on all right. Now, the question now is going to be, I'm going to actually need... yeah. I'm just looking the top of the headset. Yeah, this has been converted into a proper, it's got proper bearings in it. Oh, it means I'm going to have to dig the other bike out to get the bearings out of it. What a pain. Right, so I had a little bit of to and fro because the old headset was a bearing style, as in seal bearings, and this was obviously the older style. So I've had to play about with the adapter that goes on the bottom of that. But I think we are kind of there now, so I just need to sort out the wee... see, that isn't quite... These are the wee washers to keep things clean, but I've got a feeling this isn't gonna work. But let me just try it. That doesn't actually feel too bad. So it's obviously going to be a completely different setup to what it was. Yeah. This isn't going to quite be to plan. That isn't. It's kind of. I'm sure this is all the old. See, this is off a different bike. And I don't know whether. See, that just leaves a gap, which is going to be absolutely no good at all, because that's just not weatherproof. Right, okay, we've got the old bike back in the stand because I am going round in circles. So we're going to take these inserts out and put them into the Saracen. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. That has not popped out. That's odd. That before. God, this bike is starting to turn into a worm. Oh, it's coming. Finally. Oh. Voila, inserts out. What a faff. Right, same on this frame now. Beat the daylights out of this. God, this is just, yeah, thought this was just going to be a quick swapsy. But no. That was going to happen. There we go. Right, out, and then we're going to need the puller, compressor, thinger. Right, so we have bottom because it's got the writing on it. It's always the way I've kind of done it. A little bit of slippity slip in there. Right, so we'll bottom in first. Just nick it up and then I'll, because obviously, in fact actually I think we're pretty good on the writing department. Let's get that all straight. I mean, straight. Doesn't need to be exact. It is literally the writing. There we go. I'm just looking at this bike thinking, I mean, it's relatively, well, it's not really period correct in most parts. I was just looking at the shifters and I remember the original shifters were knackered, so we ended up changing them to the Revo shifters, which you couldn't get more unperiod correct. But I just don't know whether... I don't want this to start. I mean, this was obviously a previous Cheep bike build off, stopping long ago. So I don't want to really overly revisit it, but this was just always something that was bugging my brains, was to finish the the front forks. There we go. Right, what I'll have to do as well is I'll have... Oh, do you know what? I should bloody known that was going to happen. Because nothing was moving on the bottom. That's supposed to stay there and comes off on the bottom. Right, we've got that in place. Adapter now swapped back over. So we can just grease that up. Oop, a little bit too much there, but that'll be a problem. I think the bearings are all exactly the same. Are they? Pretty sure. Yeah, going that way. You know, it's just a fleet moment there. Just like, hang on, bloody remember what way around that went. Actually, of course, there'll be a, should be a seal. Oh, right. I believe I did that. Right. Almost the wrong way. Bearing in. Taper washer. There. Yep, I think we've cracked it this time. Because that was getting a little bit old, backwards and forwards. I think that was a spacer. Let's see how that sits. Not quite. We're going to need another one. Feels a bit fatter. Nah, I'm afraid we're going to have to go with what we've got. Otherwise I'm going to get sore holding this. Where is that? Actually, did that come with a Cane Creek one originally? I don't know if it did. I will have a look because that one just came out my box. But it would be nice if it did come with a Cane Creek one. We'll need to find it. Yeah, I'm going to have to get a longer bolt in here because that's barely reaching as well. That feels a bit stiff. So, sorry guys, I switched off for a little bit there because I was just totally faffing around. So I swapped the bearings over. They looked identical, but clearly there was a slight difference between the two. So I've swapped them around and it all seems to be working fine. We've got no play. So starting to actually look a little bit more of a pro mountain bike. So, psht. But now, of course, what we'll need to do is we're going to have to convert this back to being a... Well, we're going to put a hydraulic front brake on it. I think. Yes, because otherwise I'm going to have to get into faffing around with this and I don't want to. So, going to get the original wheel onto it. I've got a spare Tektro hydraulic brake. So that'll keep in fitting with this. Yeah, so let's do it. Right, I hope you can hear me properly now. I literally just realised there I hadn't even put my microphones on, so it was using the built-in mic on the camera, which I can imagine would be horrendous. Right, where were we? Actually, you know what? I'm thinking that's going to be banging. I think we're gonna actually be quite lucky here. So let's get this wheel off. Oh boy, this certainly has a serious lip on it for falling off. I'm going to get the Pana Racer tyres back on. I've actually managed to pick another one because I don't know if you'll remember, this bike had two different colours originally. I had a red rimmed one and a yellow rimmed one. Well, the funniest thing is the other day in the bike library, a bike came in that was not going to be kept. It was going to be scrapped, and lo and behold, it had a single red Pana Racer tyre on it. So I've laid it aside. Guys, I don't know if you have heard of this brand. I certainly haven't. This Zonks. Is it Zonks? Zotes. I don't know whether it's like one of these no brands or whether it's actually you know, something a bit different. Down in the comments. I'm putting these screws on which will allow a little bit of leeway, but actually I think the washers off one side of it have gone missing. So we won't go totally tight, we'll come back a wee bit because obviously we'll have to align this wheel. Get it right way around. It's a shame we can't put discs on the back as well, but the frame does not have the supports for it, so that ain't gonna happen, sadly. This is actually looking tops. Although I'll be honest with you, I could probably, I don't know how much adjustment I'm going to have, because I think that the pads are going to be not quite on the disc. Looking at it, I mean, it's in the right place, but I would imagine it'd be better if this was all down. I don't think we've got much room to go down. Let's see where we're at. That's still in shot, guys. I'm kind of wiggling all over the place here. There's probably warp on the disc, I think. But to be honest, I think this was more proof of concept than anything. I mean, it's on, but I feel like I want it to be a wee bit further down, although it might just be my imagination. You know, that is quite a broad rotor. When I look down that way, I can't really see an awful lot of air, but I just feel it could just be a few mil that way. I mean, to be honest, this bike is probably really ever going to get ridden, but I would just like to have been right. Right, what I'm going to do though is, you know what, that red Panaracer tyre I was talking about, I forgot to bring it home. And it's going to be down at the bike library. Because that would save me, I could still keep the other wheel as original. Because this is actually a Mavic wheel, so this is quite good, because I think the other wheel that was on the back was Mavic. Let me check. Right, to be honest, I can't wait to get the other tyre, and I want to get this project done. So I'm going to change the tyre on this for now. This one's actually looking a bit ropey by the looks of it. It's classic tan wheel, so probably from like the 90s. But it is a Mavic wheel, so that's quite pimp. Yep, that's not been cracked off. It's been a long time. This tyre will be going in the bin, sadly, but I think it would be, I mean, as a show bike tyre, it'd be fine, but other than that, it'd probably be dangerous. Oh. Oops. There we go. Boom. This is the original way. I thought these were Mavic wheels, but it doesn't say anything. I assume actually it's probably nothing special. I mean, the bike, the Saracen, it wasn't, it says it was all limited edition and stuff, but to be honest, I don't think it was anything great. You hear that? It is deflated. Oh, this pops off nice and easy. So no trouble at all. Interesting. Right, find the hole. Right, let's get this back on. Do you know what? I'm not fussed about the valve being where the writing is. It does not interest me a great deal. There we go. Oh, I have to get myself a decent inflator. There we go. It's just, you hear it hissing, it's the thing, it just leaks constantly. Let's check it's seating all the way around. I do not want this blowing off the rim. I'm not going to go crazy, I'm just going to go 40. No. I think it's decided that's as far as we're going. Right, let's get this bad boy back on. And this little session will be done. I will confess, I put the old wheel on and I had a quick ride just to see what the forks were like. I cannot honestly say to you how plush these forks are. I mean, I don't know what they'd be down like proper hashing down a hill, but just see for general riding about, oh, they're just so soft. Absolutely beautiful. See this little cross-country ride. It'd be amazing. Here we go. Oh, by the way, I've subsequently found out they're Marzocchis. I should have known that because I have had several sets of Marzocchis. But there you go. Right, that is looking fresh. So guys, what did you think? What a transformation. This is where the bike was meant to be when I was building for the Cheep Bike Build Off. I mean, I would assume these forks, I got them for free, but if I didn't, they were probably 20, 30 pounds. We would have had the budget, we would have found the budget to make this the bike how it was meant to be. But I've ridden it a couple of times. What a transformation. These forks are so plush, it is insane. I mean, I've got rock shocks, I've got fork shocks like Fox 38s, rock shot ultimates on my electric mountain bike. Not as plush as this. I cannot believe this has literally turned this bike into probably my favorite analog riding bike. It is insane. And by the way, to them, the forks are working perfectly. I believe the guy, so they came off a bike that was donated to the library, but unfortunately the bike itself was absolute scrap. The only thing that literally was okay was the forks, but I think the guy actually maybe had them serviced at some point. So these have turned out great, and I have to say, got the hydraulic brake on the front now. That makes a big difference. I think I would definitely like to get the original hydraulic brake, the I can't remember what it was, this weird one, the Grimica hydraulics. If we can get these back on, that I think would finish the bike, because then, and if I can eventually get the shifters back to period shifters as well, because these are just the Shimano Revo shifters. We did these in desperation when the original ones couldn't be fixed on the Cheep Bike Build Off. We're starting to get to the point where this is just going to be a brilliant bike. I mean, I know it was an expensive one. It wasn't very exclusive or anything like that, but the color was amazing and the bike is amazing. And just with the right components, it's just starting to be like a knockout retro bike. So I hope you enjoyed this video. And of course, as always, give me a like and subscribe. Let's see if I can start getting over my average of 300 views and maybe get some more subscribers on board. You know, I think we're about 330. If I get to 500, might make a quid or two out of the channel. That would be good too. So we'll see you in your next one, and goodbye.